in 2016, I had just gotten back from serving an LDS mission in the Philippines. I kind of had never really had no clue about anything political, stuff like that. I didn't even know that some of my best friends were, undocumented or DACA. And it's kind of crazy that you can live in like this world of like, all for yourself almost. And you kind of just forget to see that there's other people with struggling, there's other people being oppressed, stuff like that. And so when Donald Trump was elected into office, like going into that election in 2016 is really kind of what threw me into it. Just because of the comments, that he's made about Hispanic, stuff like that. It really hit home with knowing, he's talking about like my best friends and my best friends' parents who have been here for years. They pay taxes. They've built like great businesses. They only do so much good for the community. And so it really was more of like me getting defensive. And it was because of the people that I know, the relationships that I've made. And to me, it's like more than me getting involved in politics. It's more on like a human level, and that it's like my responsibility to fight for people that are being oppressed. And it's true that justice won't come until, the people that are unaffected are louder than anybody. Cool. So I was actually a theater major for 2 years at Utah Valley University. I did it all through high school and stuff like that. But just with like recent events for the past few years, months, it has sparked like the passion inside of me. So I officially changed my degree to political science. My focus is in peace and justice. So that's kind of one of my first steps that I'm starting in the fall. Hopefully we'll be graduated in 2 years. I know that I can still do so much without that degree, but I know that getting that degree will help me be able to do more. The other thing that I'm trying to put together here in Utah, me and my cousin SIOLO, we are trying to organize Pacific Islanders for Change, Pacific Islanders for Social Change. I think it's a group that we don't have in Utah, and the Polynesian voices in Utah are usually very quiet, privileged, and I think sometimes Polynesians forget that we are minorities and that the racism that happens in Utah is just blanket racism, and sometimes we don't even think about it. And so we really want, like I've been called, tables call me Maui when I'm at work, when I'm serving tables. Parents are like, kids, look, he looks like Maui. It's the subtle things, or other culture, or other people wearing tribals that are not of the Pacific Island descent. So that kind of is instigating it a little bit, and we want to be able to have the Polynesian community be able to stand up for Black Lives Matter, for undocumented citizens, for women, for everything, for the trans community, the trans women, the Black trans women being murdered, stuff like that, the Native American women getting lost, getting all that kind of stuff. We want to have a community that's able to stand up and kind of protect our brothers and sisters. So that's kind of something that we're starting here. Yeah, so me and my friend Justin Nielsen, we had just been like super overwhelmed with everything that had happened over the past few days with, a lot of like the riots and stuff like that. We were both there. I was there on Saturday before it all got crazy. And so it's kind of just been hard to like watch just like the riots and looting be posted, and it's kind of like muting the movement almost. So we wanted to create like an event for us and our friends to peacefully show up. We wouldn't even really call it as much of a protest as like a gathering, an observance. The main goal of it was to like create a memorial on the overpass so that people could, remember their lives and the lives that were taken. We really only started the event so that it would be easier than texting. And then after like a few shares, we ended up having like 100 people show up. And like I only knew 3 of them. we just found out today that the protests, like our demonstration that we did on the overpass, was ripped apart. There's still a few flowers and like SIOLO cups on it, but all the signs and everything were ripped down. So I had a bunch of people message me today, and I've already started getting, I just got $50 sent to me to buy more SIOLO cups for the fences. So I think our plan of action here is we want to deck out more overpasses throughout the valley, because thousands of people drive by it. And just them seeing, you know, to get stronger, united, or Black Lives Matter, or like we're all in this together, I think that is like a glimmer of hope. And I think hope is what we need in this country. The Black community needs healing. America needs healing. A lot of people need healing, you know, during these times. And then you add it on top of this pandemic of COVID-19. And so stakes are already high, emotions are already high. And it's sad that we even have to go out and protest these things during a pandemic, risking our lives, risking our health, and risking the health of other people. But the fact of the matter is that Black Lives Matter are so important that I will go out and peacefully protest until justice is served. Tomorrow, I think we are going to, you know, tonight we had planned to take candles up to like the little memorial that we had built, but finding out that it's destroyed. Tomorrow, I think we'll most likely be taking action of just, you know, going to another overpass, setting it up, or, you know, going to the same overpass that we were at yesterday, rebuilding it, you know, because like as much as people will rip it down, if they rip it down every day, I will make sure to go every day and put it back up, because I think it's super important. And so, yeah, it was awesome because I got like 50 plus friend requests from random strangers who showed up at the thing. And it's kind of crazy that like we've already built like a relationship together, and it's kind of crazy how the world brings us together. And so we're kind of all messaging each other, people I've only known for like 24 hours, of ways we can rebuild, like what we can do more. And so I told people yesterday, you know, before we had gone over to the overpass, that if we really want change, like this is the way to do it. Like starting in our communities, you know, getting our neighbors, our friends, holding each other accountable, is something that's super beautiful. And I don't think anything will change until we take action in our communities every day. Yeah, it's kind of like a hard subject, you know, and I feel like me not being Black, I can't speak fully on the subject, but I can say that like I would never partake in, you know, like a violent protest. I understand how it can lead to it. If they don't like peaceful protesting, like this is when the riots and stuff happen, you know, when people won't listen to the peaceful aspect of it. And so I'm not justifying the violence and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, when we don't listen to people peacefully protesting, all that kind of stuff, it will lead to that, because I think, you know, there comes a time when people get so sick of it. You know, you can peaceful protest for so long until it happens. But I'm definitely not here for like the violence and stuff. I know that a lot of it was instigated by people outside of the Black Lives Matter movement. And so that part was sad to see. You know, it's been proven, just like in Minneapolis, of like white nationalists, you know, hijacking the movement, destroying buildings, instigating things. So there's like a lot of context that people don't see before they start sharing about the protesting and rioting, and why it really started is what, like, the reason it's starting is what we should be talking about, and not the action of it. I had gotten up to the Capitol before. The graffiti was all on it by the time I arrived there, or else I probably would have said something, because I'm not here for it. And I think it's a lot more than just like the graffiti on the building. And it's very symbolic, because like the Capitol is where our lawmakers make laws. It's where they're supposed to bring justice for the people. And the real truth about it is that they aren't making laws. There's no police reform bill going in. There's nothing happening within like our lawmakers to like bring justice. And so I think that that's where a lot of the anger stemmed with the graffiti and stuff on the buildings. Because I think the people are tired of, you know, lawmakers and stuff not listening to them or their voices. And so it's sad that it turned to graffiti on the Capitol, but it also kind of was like a little bit of a wake-up call for them. You know, the biggest thing that's been like so like taxing on my mental health or just giving me, you know, a lot of stress and stuff is like the amount of posts that I've seen of, you know, of just the riots, of just the looting, all that kind of stuff. You know, people will say Black Lives Matter, but you shouldn't do it rioting. And I think those posts are totally muting this whole movement, and that's what's been eating at me all these days. And we had a sign that we put up and it said, "We are more than riots and looting," and which is true. You know, the movement is so much more than that, and people are painting it to be that. And so that's what I'll continue doing, you know, from now on, tomorrow, today, is just reminding people of like the real reason we're out protesting. And, you know, to remind people that we really wouldn't have to protest if there was actual justice in this country. And I think one of the biggest things that's been like eating at me is, you know, people are like, the riots, the looting, et cetera, it's not going to bring George Floyd justice. He already got justice. The police was charged with murder. But the thing about it is, you know, he was charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter when in a lot of people's eyes it should be first-degree murder. And there's so much more, you know, like Breonna Taylor, all these people, all of these Black lives that have been taken over the past few years, months. Nothing has ever been like this outraged. And I think it goes to show that people are really sick of it. I mean, if you see like all the other countries protesting with us, if the fact that they see it, that it's a problem, I think that, you know, COVID-19 is not the only pandemic in this country, and that, you know, race and injustice is bigger and, you know, takes, if not more, just as many lives as the current pandemic we have. So yeah, that's kind of my only objective is, I don't know, I just want to use my voice, and use, you know, everybody has an amount of privilege in their life, and I think it's important that we all use our voices, and that's the only way things will change. So